We have a lot to talk about on today's show with Mike McDaniel and this Dolphins offense, but make sure you are subscribed and make sure you have your notifications turned on because we drop content every single day, sometimes twice a day, as well as go live for every Dolphins game. Never miss a piece of Dolphins content being subscribed, but also turning on the notification icon. Make sure when you click that noti bell, you turn it on for all, not just personalized, so you never miss a beat. And with that being said, let's get into today's show. We have seen a change, folks, and it's one that should be very welcomed by Miami Dolphins fans as we've seen this offense kind of take a different approach to each individual game over the last 4 weeks. And it's massive long term for the Miami Dolphins as McDaniel remains on as head coach and play caller because we talked about it earlier on in the season. Games like Seattle, New England, Indianapolis, about how poor the play calling was from McDaniel, how he might not be a good coach and could be on the outs and on the hot seat over the next year and a half if nothing changes. Well, I think the change has been made by Mike McDaniel. He's running a more diverse offense, and now we're starting to talk about a coach that has this team bought in, has the offense humming on a different level, and some might say it's just Tua Tagovailoa being back. You might be right, but when you really deep dive into the play calling and the difference in philosophies offensively, we're talking about a completely different offense than what we've seen over the past 2 seasons that is more sustainable and more susceptible to success long term, and I'm quite excited about it. Because since Tua has returned, and I've really noticed a shift in play calling for this Dolphins offense, look at what they have done every single Sunday, well, and Monday, I suppose. 27 points against the Cardinals, 27% or 27 points against the Bills, 23 against the Los Angeles Rams. That is a mistake on me. And then 34 points against the Las Vegas Raiders. They have been awesome against the opposing teams they've played. But it's really been the play calling to me. And I want to look back at the play calling and the diversity of this game against the Raiders on Sunday. 38 out of 68 plays were passes. That's 55%. And then 26 were runs. But when you deep dive more into those passing attempts, 32 of those 38 passing attempts and dropbacks were just straight dropbacks. No play actions, no screens. You had 4 screens, 6 play action passes. Now you might be wondering how the numbers work out there. Well, they had a couple play action screens, so a couple of them blend in together. But then when you look at the runs, and this is the part I want to key in on here. 11 outside runs, 15 inside runs, 1 end around for the 26 runs that Miami ran, which they've been doing a more cognizant effort to run the football. And I'll also say this when you're watching this Dolphins offense, it's been way more efficient, way more methodical. It's no longer deep shots or nothing. I feel as if the issue with the Dolphins last season, the reason why the offense fell off a cliff at the end of the year is because they were just hitting those massive 70-yard, 50-yard, 60-yard plays to Tyreek Hill, to Jalen Waddle, and everyone was like, "This is awesome. Why would we change our offense if it's working, and we don't have to change because we're getting these chunk plays consistently?" Well, when you get to the postseason and teams ultra hyper fixate and game plan for you, it's not going to be as easy to generate those big time plays. And they're playing 2 high safeties consistently. And I don't think Tua in this offense was ready to just check it down and be methodical as well as lean on the run game. They have done that over the past 4 weeks, and it's the reason why the Dolphins have a top 10 offense in all football over the past 4 weeks. And it's not just a 1-week thing as well where they did it against the Raiders. Look at the game against the Rams. So this is now back-to-back weeks here of looking at the play calling. 60% of the plays were passes. But then you look, 9 play actions, only 23 straight dropbacks, 4 screens once again. But then when you look at the run game again, 8 outside runs, 9 inside runs, and 3 end arounds. And I do want to clarify as well what I consider outside runs. Anything to the left tackle and out and right tackle and out. So anything from the left guard to the right guard is inside runs in my opinion. They have done a better job of being diverse in the passing game as well as the run game, not always running east-west, going more north-south, which we're going to detail more in just a second. But what say you? Do you think the play calling has been better for the Miami Dolphins since Tua Tagovailoa has returned? Because I remember talking about how I would consider removing Mike McDaniel as the play caller in the middle part of the season because of how poor it was. But it's been a lot better, and now I really like what he's been doing. Type Y for yes or type N for no. And you might have gotten the sense that I am really impressed with the changes in the run game and how often they're running the football, but how they are doing that. That's the number one improvement to me with this Dolphins offense. And I'm excited about more north-south runs compared to east-west. And I wanted to showcase this because this is ultimately the deciding factor on why I'm believing this Dolphins offense is different. Look at the first 6 weeks the Dolphins had when they ran the football. These are all running attempts, all games. So week 1 against the Jags, 2 against the Bills, Seahawks in week 3, Titans in week 4, Patriots week 5, Colts week 7. You notice anything? You should. There is only 1 week in the first 6 games of the season where the Dolphins had more inside rushing attempts than outside. That came in week 3 against Seattle. But weeks 1, week 2, week 4, week 5, and week 7. All more runs to the perimeter, to the outside. And what you've seen since Tua Tagovailoa has returned in week 8 against the Cardinals and beyond to now in the 4-game sample size, you are seeing more north-south runs. And it's been absolutely awesome to watch. And I get it. Your 2 best offensive linemen in the first part of the season was on the outside, Armstead and Austin Jackson. But if we're being honest here, Aaron Brewer has been phenomenal at center. Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones have been average to below average at left guard and right guard. But in the run game, they have been pretty solid for the most part. And obviously having Tua Tagovailoa back over the last 4 weeks is going to be a major improvement because you've been able to be more dynamic in the passing game, and teams are going to respect the passing threat more because you have a competent franchise quarterback back there. But the play calling has just been so much better with the run game. The quick throws to Jonnu Smith as he's been really involved over the last 4 weeks, having a career-high 101 receiving yards this past week and a career-high 2 touchdowns in one game. Like, it's been better across the board. And it's why you've seen the Dolphins offense average 27-plus points per game over the last 4 weeks and be a top 10 offense in yards per game as well. And we got to talk about staying mellow. And shout out to Mellow Seltzer, my new favorite drink. If you have any questions about them, let me know on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff. But I was very critical of Mike McDaniel. I said it. The games against the Colts in week 7, the game against New England in week 5, Tennessee in week 4. I called McDaniel out. I said his play calling was garbage. I said that he is not a tough-minded coach, and this locker room was on the verge of being disaster and kind of breaking apart. But I should have stayed mellow. I should have stayed the course because now this offense is going at a really different level, and it's been awesome to watch. And I feel like I've said that 2 or 3 times today, but it's really how I feel. It's almost majestical the way this Dolphins offense is playing right now and moving the football, not only taking deep shots. They take it when they're there, but they're taking what the defense is giving it to them and moving down the field, which has resulted in long drives where the Dolphins offense has dominated time of possession. It's given their defense rest, allows them to be fresh when they're on the football field, and really take advantage of opposing defenses being tired. Because look at what has happened over the past 4 weeks. And we're going to use the sample size of Tua being back because that is what we're working with. 10-plus play drives. 4 of them in week 11 against the Raiders. 4. A couple of them were 14 plays. 1 in week 10 against the Rams. 2 in week 9 against the Bills. 3 in week 8 against the Cardinals. They have had multiple drives in almost every single game since Tua Tagovailoa return where they are being methodical, 6-plus minute drives, dominating time of possession, and it's resulting in scoring as well. This is something that Mike McDaniel and this offense worked on in the offseason and really tried to implement, but unfortunately we were not able to see it because Tua got concussed and missed 4 games in the early part of the season. Mike McDaniel was asked about the long drives. We had as many 14-play scoring drives last game, this is against the Raiders, by the way, as we did the entire previous year. Wow. That's something we've been talking about since the offseason in conjunction with our win elimination games. And I love the switch up. And like I mentioned off the top, it's been different to watch, and I believe that this offensive philosophy is a lot more sustainable for the Miami Dolphins. The awesome big time chunk plays where you're consistently getting 30, 40, 50-yard plays to Tyreek, to Jalen Waddle, to HM. That is all fun. It is fun to put the highlights out there and go nuts over these big plays. But if you want to win in the National Football League, you have to be able to put together sustained double-digit play drives that take 5+ minutes to keep opposing quarterbacks and good offenses off the football field and dominate time of possession. Love what I've seen this year, man. Pick one for me. Which offensive philosophy do you prefer? The one last season where the Dolphins had the number one offense in football and they were just ripping off chunk plays left and right? Or do you prefer what we've seen over the last 4 weeks in 2024 where they're having 10+ play drives and dominating time possession? Let me know in the comment section, 2023 or 2024. As you could have mentioned and seen, it has been 2024 for me because it's more sustainable. You'll be able to have that transition to road games and cold environments. It's going to be fun. And I think we're going to see the first test for this Dolphins offense and its new look this upcoming Thursday. Well, let's rephrase that. After this week against New England, against the Green Bay Packers. Because we've seen it on the road against the Rams do pretty well, 23 points. On the road against Buffalo, 27. If your defense got one stop in the second half, you win that game, or Raheem Mostert doesn't fumble. Like, I think this offense for Miami just has simply been way more better over the last 4 weeks, and I think it's going to give them a better chance to make a postseason run, and if they do make it into the playoffs, pick up a couple wins potentially. And it also helps that they have just been incredibly efficient in terms of getting scoring opportunities and scoring with them. Since the return in Week 8, the Miami Dolphins have scored on 60% of their drives. It's the number one rate in all of football in the past 4 weeks. They have just been marching down the field almost every single game. And if you take away that weird midway first quarter to midway second quarter stretch in Monday Night Football against the Rams, this rate would have been way more higher. I think it would have been closer to 75% because there was like 4 straight drives where they didn't score in the first half against Rams. But outside of that, they've scored almost every single time they've had the ball, it feels like. Let's keep it rolling, man. You're facing a Patriots team that doesn't have the best defense. Yeah, they got Christian Gonzalez. They got Christian Barmore back as well. But that's a defense that you should be able to score 24+ on. And as long as the defense could do its job and turn over Drake May a couple times and hold them under 24 points, which should be manageable. This Dolphins team should be able to get a win this week at home against New England, move to 5-6, and keep the ball rolling into a tougher part of the schedule where you play Green Bay on the road as well as the 49ers and Texans. Let's keep it rolling, folks. And make sure you are subscribed because as the Dolphins continue this season, we will have you covered with videos every single day, live shows on Tuesdays, live for every game on Sundays, Thursdays, Mondays. It doesn't matter. So hit that sub button and join us for the rest of the season.